Hey guys, it's Caden. Welcome to another Autism Digest interview, where today we have someone who I'm really excited to talk to. I've been with this individual since he was at 10K subscribers. I collaborated with him on one of his videos on an FUDW episode he did a while back. He's a comedian. He's a YouTuber boasting almost 70K followers. And he recently did an autism awareness episode of Daniel Tiger for a commentary, so I knew I had to get him on. He is Matt Neff. Thanks for coming on, Matt.
Thanks for having me, Caden. It's so fun to be here.
Thank you, sir. I think a lot of people might recognize you from your FUDW videos. Those videos have received hundreds upon thousands of views, but for those that may not know your story, do you mind summarizing it in your own words?
Yeah, sure. Basically, I am a 29-year-old YouTuber, and I live with my dad because I'm a 29-year-old YouTuber. I remember back when I was in school, I was a big fan of a lot of kind of like a lot of people. I kind of grew up on internet humor. And one of my favorite series to watch was this Funny or Die series called Zach Morris's Trash. And which basically just kind of goes through a bunch of episodes of Saved by the Bell, which is a very kind of cheesy 90s sitcom, and kind of points out how the main character is really a bigger monster than we all realized when we first watched the show. And I kind of just glommed onto that. And weirdly enough, that guy stopped making those videos because he got hired to work on the reboot of that show. So, it's kind of like eating out of the hand you were crapping on. But so when he stopped making those videos, I kind of thought to myself, that format is so fun. I would love to do something like that with a show like that I loved growing up on. And the first series that really came to my mind was Arthur. And because I grew up with a lot of kids watching it on PBS, I had a lot of the Arthur VHSs growing up. And I really loved the show, but I also remember just absolutely hating the little sister character, D.W. Reed. And if you type D.W. into YouTube, even before I was making my videos, you would see just so many D.W. hate videos. So I think a lot of the consensus online is that D.W. is just kind of the worst character on the show. And obviously the most infamous episode being Arthur's big hit, where Arthur just kind of decks DW, but she kind of deserves it. So I thought, okay, that'd be fun to make a video on. So I started making videos about that. And then at one point, one just kind of exploded. I think one got 100,000 views in a month. And so I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can actually do this as a full-time thing. And so from there, I've just been slowly making more and more videos, trying to expand it, talk about more and more cartoon brats. And so, yeah, 3 years later, this is now my full-time job. I am now a full-time YouTuber.
And that's amazing. Like I said, I've been with you since 10K subscribers, so I'm honestly proud to have been a small part of that journey. My next question for you is, have you had any experiences interacting with the autism community throughout your life or within the realm of YouTube specifically?
Well, it's interesting because I kind of like I said, I'm 29. We kind of grew up in that era, where we didn't really talk about autism or just kind of have it social aware. Obviously there would be kids maybe my grade school class who maybe had maybe had more you would see them stimming in class, and I would stim in class too, but you see kids who had they would spend their free time with other side teachers, but we didn't really talk about it. And it wasn't really that until I got older and started seeing these more major platforms bring awareness to autism that I realized, oh, that's what that was. That's what was going on. I was always surrounded by it. It's just no one was actually talking about it and kind of bringing it to the forefront of the conversation. And I feel if they had made more of an effort in the kind of those grade school settings to be okay, this is what it is. And I know it's still an ongoing conversation of always this is what it is. This is what the community is. Here's how you can get involved. Here's how you can be aware of it. I feel if we had those conversations, when I was 10 years old. I think I would have like a better grasp on it instead of having to, kind of learn about it more as an adult.
I absolutely agree with you. I was born in 2004, diagnosed when I was 2 years old. I'm 21 years old now. And one of my favorite things, as I always say about doing stuff like this on here, is you never know whose story you're going to hear, and you never know which perspectives you're going to bring. So I definitely love that perspective, and I definitely agree that if people knew about autism and neurodiversity in the 80s or the 90s when you were growing up, we would have a way more better understanding and more resources out there for people who may not have the luxury I had of early diagnosis, special education, occupational therapy, physical therapy, all of these amazing resources that we have now because we have a better understanding. Which leads to my next question. You recently covered the Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood Autism Awareness episode for your latest video. That video got over 100,000 views in a day and is apparently on the YouTube hype list, which I didn't even know was a thing until I saw that community post.
Me either.
With that blueprint in mind, how do you think children's television could better help viewers understand autism in a way that they understand, specifically the children viewers?
Okay. I'm going to back up a little bit here because yeah, no, that video was absolutely insane. I guess I gotta say, from writing that video to posting that video, I think was like a 48-hour turnaround because right now, I've been fighting a copyright claim with PBS over my 60,000 subscriber Elmo review. And so I haven't been able to release that. So in the meantime, I've been trying to just make more videos to put those out. And so I said, people are talking about Daniel Tiger. I'll make some Daniel Tiger videos. And the previous video I had made was about how he's really mean toward Miss Elena and kind of gave it that clickbaity title of, oh, Daniel Tiger is super, super racist. And so when I was looking for a follow-up, I was kind of looking okay, are there any other people of color on the show that Daniel interacts with? And that's how I discovered who Max is. And so through watching the videos, oh, this isn't just, another black kid on the show. This is they actually created this character for autism awareness. And I thought that was really interesting. And yeah, I still kind of gave it the clickbaity title of oh, Daniel Tiger is still super, super racist. But in actually talking about the video, I realized, oh, here, they're actually showing what it is like to be a child with autism, and how it could be maybe not the best situation to interact with someone like Daniel Tiger if you have all these sensitivity stimulation issues. And so I thought, oh, that's really interesting. And so when I posted that video, I immediately started seeing a lot of comments from my fans who are a part of the autism community, who have autism or have friends and family with autism. And I was like, okay, I didn't realize it would be starting a conversation like this. And so it was really interesting to read through all those comments and see people talking oh, I relate to Max in this way or this way. Or it's I knew someone like Max growing up, or I had families, I had a little brother, or I had siblings like Max growing up. And I thought, wow, I can see how I can see how this episode was kind of important for a lot of people growing up, because I can't really think of any other cartoons either modern or retroactively that really had a character like Max be so openly autistic. Because I know there are a lot of kind of cartoon retrospectives where we go back and realize, oh, this character probably was autistic, whether they meant to write them that way or not. And it's interesting to go back and look. But this is one of the few characters where they wrote him from the get-go. Here is a young man with autism. Here is the struggles he faces having to interact with his peers. And here's how, we all as a community can work together to make sure that they don't feel excluded, and that we can all make sure that because they show Max, he has sensitivity to sound and stuff. But other than that, he's a fairly normal kid. He likes bugs. He likes buses. I like bugs and buses. Bugs and buses are awesome. So I think it's really cool. They don't what I like about the episode in particular is that it's like it's not just, oh, he's autistic and that's his entire personality. No, they really show, okay, he's a kid who's nervous about making friends, and he's trying to relate to them with the likes and dislikes that he has, but it's just a little bit more difficult because he has to interact in a world that's not necessarily designed for him, or like he faces challenges that like because like characters like Daniel Tiger, because they're not aware of like what autism is and like how to act around people with autism, how it can be difficult to kind of navigate those friendships while making sure that, while not trying to like to make people uncomfortable or anything. Like, I think the only other, I think Arthur also did an episode about an autistic character. I forget the character's name, but I distinctly remember there was an episode with the character George, like the shy moose kid, like where he meets someone like in an art class or something who I believe is also autistic and has issues with either sound or like light sensitivity, something like that. But like that's the only other modern cartoon I can think of that has like actually like good like autism representation, because I think when a lot of people like maybe I'm misspeaking, but I feel like shows like when people say like, oh, autistic characters in media, their immediate go-to is like, oh, like The Good Doctor, and people's like, oh, that's what an autistic person is, or like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, who I don't think is actually canonically autistic. People are just like, oh, he has quirks that media says this is what an autistic person has, so that's what we assume an autistic person has. So I really like that, like shows like Arthur and Daniel Tiger being like, no, it's not just all these like tropes that we've all come to expect from traditional media. This is what autism looks like. This is what autistic people think, feel. This is how they make friendships. This is how they show their love for their family. And I really truly applaud PBS for like taking the time and care to make sure that they do justice to these characters and to this community.
I applaud them as well. Well, and I definitely relate to Max's struggle of not understanding and Daniel misunderstanding him. A bit of a story for you before I move on to the next question. In high school, I was definitely bullied, as a lot of people are, but had neurodiversity to it, and that automatically makes you a target. And there was this one kid who, well, to be fair, I egged him on a bit for telling on him to the teacher over extremely petty things, like being on his phone in class, talking while the teacher was talking, minor cussing. But I took the rules seriously because of autism. So it was one way for me, and I was a bit of a teacher's pet, as a lot of students are. But things were tense between us, but once that kid, whose name was Billy Hill, knew of my situation of me being on the spectrum, he apologized at the very end of the year for how he treated me. We didn't become friends, but we had that mutual respect for each other. So I definitely love your answer there, which leads to my next question. How can television and movie producers, whether that be in children's media or in shows like The Good Doctor, produce better neurodivergent storylines in their productions without it coming across as a cash grab?
I gotta say that's an awesome story about like the high school bully, kind of like the story you just told about like your high school bully. I think that's like awesome, kind of how that resolution came about. But in terms of like better representation, better awareness, I would just say like just talk to the autistic community, get their opinions, bring autistic writers into the writers' room, just make sure you have that representation from the ground up. I mean, because I feel like there are a lot of people out there, either acting in good faith or bad, who believe that they can like write autistic characters without necessarily having to interact with the community. They just kind of approach it as, oh, they're just like me, but but da 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 da, and you're like, no, it's not that cut and dry. If you want to tell these stories, if you want to represent this community, you need to have those you need to have like that community in your writer's room, in your creative team from the ground up. Otherwise it's all going to come toppling down, and people in the community are going to, like, if you try to create this whole cloth without involving that community from the get-go, when you finally do release the product, the community is going to be like, yeah, they had no autistic people working on this project. Like, case an example, Sia's music, if you ever saw that. Wonderful.
Yeah, I saw the beginning of it, but he had tapped out of it, not necessarily because of the restraint scene specifically, but because Maddie Ziegler's portrayal. Well, she didn't mean to, and I heard that she actually tried to make
I feel so bad for that actress who played the autistic girl in this movie. Like, I saw those interviews where she's just being like, you could tell like she was nervous about it going on, and Sia's just like, no, it's fine, no one will care. So no, absolutely. I don't hold anything against that young actress who played the autistic girl in that movie. It's just, is the character's name Music? I have not actually seen. I've only seen reviews for the movie. Is the autistic girl's name Music?
Yeah, had actually it. So
I hold nothing against the actress who played Music. No, that is fully on Sia for that trash fire.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. To be fair to Sia, though, she was also on the spectrum, but that doesn't give her an excuse to produce an inaccurate storyline. If I was, say, making a sequel, I would center it around someone like me who's in college, doing stuff like this, but is trying to navigate a society that's not necessarily empathetic towards people's situations. And so I definitely love how you brought up Music. My next question for you is, what's your advice to anyone, neurodivergent or not, that wants to make it in the world of comedy or being a social influencer?
I just want to first say, like, I feel like a large part I've gotten to do, like, what I do is a large part of it is just luck, because I'm sure, like, you make these interviews and stuff, and you like do YouTube, like, it is like very much like trying to navigate the algorithm is like 90% luck. I'll say, like, the advice I got going into this space, I got a couple pieces of advices. The big one I got first off was make videos that you yourself would want to watch, because if you're not having fun doing this, you're going to burn out very quickly. And also because like, if you're like doing that struggle, like if you're like in that position where like you're just starting out and you're only getting like a couple tens of dozens of views on your videos, and so if you don't enjoy making what you're making, you're going to get very disheartened very quickly. And then, like I said, a little bit is that of luck. Like I think the video that took off for me was that kind of like compilation. Like I just put 7 FUDW videos into one 20-minute compilation, and that kind of like took off with the algorithm. A large part I attribute that to the thumbnail of that video, because if you go back and listen to the audio, it is kind of garbage. I think ironically, if you listen to a lot of my older videos, I think like people with like hearing sensitivity issues might not really enjoy them. It's kind of why I got a better microphone. But yeah, so I do, like, you have to keep, like, luck is a big component of it, because like if you do keep doing it, hopefully at one point you will get that video that like just takes off and hopefully starts to get you an audience. But more importantly, after that, you need to have kind of a follow through. Like, you can't just like rely on the success of just one video to make it in this space. Cause like, I feel like we, like, as YouTubers, we know, like, you're only as good as your last video, but your video kind of has like, every video basically has a half-life of like 1 day. After that, like, each video is worth less because there's so much more new media coming out each and every day. So like, you see like sometimes you'll see like creators, they'll have like a video that just like randomly gets 1 million views and they'll get like 20,000 subscribers in like a week. But then you look at the videos they post after that and they're only getting, and they're getting nowhere near that number of views. So it is really kind of like a crapshoot, and like you have to just keep making videos. Like you can't rely on the success of one video to make your career as a YouTuber. Like me, myself, I would kind of consider myself, for lack of a better term, like a working class YouTuber, where it's like, yeah, my videos get decent numbers, but I have to consistently make videos each and every week. I have to put out at least 1 or 2 videos a week if I want to, pay my bills and stuff. If I want to keep doing this full time, I can't really take a week off. Or like you see, like these creators they'll make like one big video like every couple months. That's not the situation I'm in. I have to, me and a lot of like my other YouTuber friends in this, that are kind of like, we're all at this level where it's like, yeah, we have like our fans and everything, but we understand that we have to keep putting out more content and more engaging videos in order to keep that audience, in order to keep that engagement, so we can rise to that level to where we can set our own schedules. So yeah, like to kind of like bring it all back, I would say like for like any creators, neurodivergent, neurotypical, any creators, just, do it because you love doing it. And also the same advice kind of like they say, like to people, like, don't do it because you want to, do it because you need to. Make the videos that you feel like need to be made, that no one else is going to make the kind of I kind of don't like the word content, but like make the type of content that you want to see but you don't see other people making. Make the type of stuff that you love and that you want to find and that you want to help connect with other people. So that would be my advice to up and coming creators.
I absolutely agree. Not just with content creation, but with anything really. It's all about casting a net, doing it consistently, and seeing what you get. So I definitely like that advice. My last question for you is, apart from the pending copyright dispute with PBS over the 60K subscriber special, what does the future hold for you? Do you have anything that you want to plug quickly?
Yeah. I actually wanted to talk about, I've been working on this this other project. I plugged this like in my like Elmo review too, which would have been out by now, but like I'll go ahead and just talk about it here. I'm working with this like a new video game company called Retail Revenge LLC, and we're working on producing a new 2D fighter game called Inconvenience Store. And so the general concept is it's a 2D fighting game where you're like the clerk at these kind of like 7-Eleven, like kind of like rundown 7-Eleven, gas station stores. And you just have to deal with like the worst customers you've ever interacted with, kind of all the Karens and jerks of the world. But in this game, you actually get to fight against the customers. You get to talk back to them. You get to engage them in hand-to-hand combat. And in my Elmo review, you'll actually get to like see kind of like promotional footage that we worked with we worked with one of our animators who's been like working to create all this amazing footage for the game. And so yeah, and my role in that is I'm kind of like the head game writer. I'm like writing all the stories, helping create the characters. I'm voicing some of the characters for the demo. Like kind of like we got Coupon Karen, what do you mean it's expired? It only expired 2 years ago. And you have the creepy divorced dad who's like, yeah, I'm just walking around here in a bathrobe. It's not a bathrobe though. It's a beach jacket. Or you have, kind of like the Florida man, this is my emotional support alligator. So, those are the kind of characters you can expect to see in that game. And we're hoping to launch our Kickstarter campaign for that game later this year. But yeah, so that's kind of the main thing I've been working on for, and I am super excited for that to come out.
That definitely sounds like an exciting game, and it's an excellent concept. I've worked several fast food and customer service jobs during the summer months, and there was
Dude.
always that one customer that got on your nerves. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the game.
Yeah, dude. I was sorry. I just was saying, like in college, I used to work like the graveyard shift at a Burger King that was right next to a college campus. So yeah, like when they pitched this game to me, it was like, I'm on board like that.
Yeah, we'll be sure to look out for it. Anyways, that's going to do it for this interview. Thank you so much to Matt for coming on and sharing his story. If you guys want to see more amazing interviews, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Autism Digest channel. Check out our August issue that's out now by going to autismdigest.com, and stay tuned for the audio file to be posted on our Spotify. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.